All of that, and I'm still missing a button. Today's review is a movie that really takes me back. Now, I didn't grow up in a cable TV household. My grandparents, aunt and uncle, and some of my friends had it, so I got a taste every now and then, but was otherwise left craving. For about 12 years, this was the case, but things changed after my parents got divorced. I'm sorry about the sharp left turn. I promise it's relevant. The apartment my mom rented after the split came with cable TV bundled in. After years of enjoying it from a distance, I was flipping between Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel like it was my birthright. 2005 to 2007 are my golden years for television nostalgia. I had Teen Titans, Zack and Cody, Billy and Mandy, Fairly Odd Parents, Code Lyoko, and so many more, including, of course, but before I even knew there was a show, I had this VHS tape of the film that started the whole thing. This is Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. The film opens on a military compound? I completely forgot about this part. A squad of pilots is dispatched to investigate an unidentified bogey, which turns out to be our titular character.
Holy cowpie!
Hi, nice antiques! Got a blast!
Jimmy, his friend Carl, and his robot dog, Goddard, are trying to launch a toaster into space, but can't quite clear the atmosphere.
One thing. Warning blast!
This is a neat first instance of Jimmy showcasing his genius. Others might point at the rocket, but hey. After ejecting Carl and causing quite a bit of property damage, Jimmy crashes on his own roof and has to face his parents, Hugh and Judy.
Last night I received a message from outer space, but it was garbled in the ionosphere, so Mom, I had to launch a communications toaster. Satellite.
Well,
and then when I tried...
message from space, wow.
Don't encourage him, Hugh. Jimmy, we've repeatedly told you not to talk to strangers.
Never mind the planet-wide implications of making contact with a sentient species from space. No. Talking to strangers is the problem here.
If your father and I haven't met them, they're strangers. Right, Hugh?
Yeah, except for policemen. They're there to help you.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
After a mishap in his invention-embellished morning routine, Jimmy misses the bus, prompting him to try a different invention.
Hey, look! Neutron's got another one. Nice invention, Neutron. Too bad somebody already invented the bus.
I'll admit that is a very sensible argument to make, young lady. Counterpoint, why do you hate fun?
Bubble travel is the way of the future.
I would like my previous statement stricken from the record. This is Cindy Vortex, who's very smart in her own right and constantly clashing with Jimmy.
The mandible crest of Cindy's alleged plesiosaur is actually that of a male megalosaur as defined by last week's World Congress of Paleontologists.
Those findings were inconclusive and you know it, Neutron!
Miss Fowl, what is the standard for research on these extra credit reports?
Whatever their teacher is paid, it's not enough.
Well, let's move along to show and tell now, shall we?
Now there's something I've never Googled before. Who voices Miss Fowl?
Little sister, all hop in the car.
First Bartok, now this. Andrea Martin, where will you sneak up on me next? Wait, what?
What do you mean he don't eat no meat?
I was not prepared to discover that today. During show and tell, we meet Jimmy's other friend, Sheen, whose main character trait is being obsessed with a space-themed superhero.
This is the 7th week in a row you've shown Ultra Lord in class.
Oh, the 7th week in a row. When I was a kid, I always thought she said 2nd week. That never really made sense to me. We also get a clearer picture about Jimmy's lackluster social standing when he demonstrates a shrink ray.
Help me! I'm so tiny, just like Jimmy's brain.
Oh my!
The boys find a flyer for a new theme park called Retroland, but their excitement is short-lived.
My folks won't let me stay out after dark.
Well, it is a school night.
Who grand opens an amusement park on a school night? Nick, the de facto bad boy in Jimmy's class, suggests that they sneak out.
What your parents don't know won't hurt them, right?
But Nick, sneaking out is so barbaric.
Anybody who matters is gonna be there.
Jimmy considers a different approach.
Monkeys are easily influenced by positive reinforcement. And since human and monkey DNA only differ by 2%, the same principle should work on our parents.
And gets to work. I know he wanted to test his gummobile, but why didn't Jimmy just jetpack to school? Fair enough. Jimmy grabs a few oysters and a lump of coal, which he fully intends to pay for, I'm sure, and heads into his underground laboratory. You might be wondering, what witchcraft did the sound engineers invoke to mix the sound of actual barking with the word bark? Well, there is none. They just hired Frank Welker. And while I would love to discuss the witchcraft he invoked for such magnificent vocal talents, we gotta keep this video moving.
Wait, Dad!
After getting pearls from the oysters and a diamond from the coal, Jimmy attempts to bribe his mother with jewelry.
And all these fabulous gifts and prizes could be yours if you know the correct answer to this question. Please, may I go to Retroland tonight?
No, it's a school night.
Thank you so much, Mother, and might I say...
I think the best part about this is the way Judy's facial expression clearly says, I should have known. Also worth observing, she doesn't take advantage of Jimmy's talents in order to enrich herself, which proves in the long run that she's actually a really decent parent. Alas, Jimmy's persistence becomes his downfall.
Oh, I didn't do it!
Oh, stop, drop, and roll! Oh my goodness. Okay, Jimmy, that's the last straw.
Given what happened that morning, I'm surprised he wasn't grounded before going to school. Meanwhile, Jimmy's toaster is picked up by the alien ship of King Goobot.
It's all right. I'll handle this. Hello! What galaxy are you from?
Oobla, stop it. It's toast.
You know, I thought about commenting on this, but then I thought, am I really going to lose sleep over the question, how do they know what toast is? They accidentally activate Jimmy's message, which sets up the main conflict of the movie.
They look delicious.
Back on Earth, Jimmy and his dad have a talk.
And you just can't go around playing with big people, fiery, flying things. Because that's what rockets are. Rockets are flying things. Well, I hope this talk has helped.
The way Hugh and Judy swap traditional gender roles in this scenario is kind of a funny touch. Judy said this,
Your father will have a few words to say to you when he gets home.
only to have Hugh do this.
Oh, and by the way, Mom says you're grounded. Sorry!
Also,
Mom, Dad.
that fits a little too well for it to be a mistake. Jimmy reviews the options available to him.
Sneak out.
Turns out, parents don't understand psychology. Tell Sheen to meet us at Retroland in 1 hour. We're sneaking out.
In order for little Jimmy to make it to Retroland, he will first have to sneak past his parents. He hops down the stairs, one at a time. Roll for stealth. Jimmy drops his shrink ray onto the couch. Hugh, intending to pick up the remote, accidentally grabs the shrink ray instead. Roll for perception. Jimmy's parents assume their son just left it lying around and don't get suspicious. Jimmy picks up the shrink ray and hops onto the floor, only for Hugh to cross his legs, kicking Jimmy across the room in the process. Make a Constitution saving throw. Cartoon physics apply. Jimmy's not injured, but he is flying towards the front door. Make a Dexterity saving throw. Jimmy and the shrink ray slip through the mail slot like it's what they were put on this earth to do. Mission accomplished.
While Jimmy and friends enjoy the heck out of Retroland, Jimmy's parents consider that they may have been a little harsh.
According to this, we should encourage Jimmy without overindulging him.
Okay, what does it say about rockets?
This joke does not get enough appreciation. Unfortunately, this is also the time when the aliens that receive Jimmy's message abduct the adults of Retroville. Only Retroville. I mean, they can't farm the entire planet at once. After this tragically ironic line,
yeah, wouldn't it be great if our folks just all disappeared for a while?
Carl spots a shooting star, and based on the color, it's definitely one of the alien ships, which is great attention to detail.
What should I wish for?
Well, gee, I don't know, Carl. How about that thing you were all wanting 5 seconds ago?
I'd wish for no more parents. That way we could do whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted. We'd be free. We could have fun all the time.
Yeah!
The next morning, Retroville's youth wake up to notes on their refrigerators.
Love your parents.
Yeah, my parents went to Florida too.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is. Son/daughter instead of proper names? That alone is a huge red flag. But no one seems to care because Retroville has suddenly become a children's paradise.
I'm letting out the cold.
I'm peed in the shower.
I'm out in public and my clothes don't match.
And apparently, Miss Fowl is the only adult who didn't get abducted. Which is totally fine. She's dealing with her own stuff.
Don't make me get the ball tractor.
The following day, the kids are hit by the downsides of their new reality.
Interrupt this program to bring you this special report. Hey, knock it off, Arnie.
Who taught those kids how to use broadcasting equipment? Seriously, I didn't get to learn that till high school.
What started as an awesome day has become like a real bummer.
Help us!
I don't know how to make lunch! I want my parents!
Somebody hold me!
Things are looking grim, and Jimmy isn't taking it well.
What kind of parents take off and leave their kid? And they didn't even say goodbye.
So Goddard plays back a recording from when Jimmy's parents came to check up on him the night he snuck out.
Good night, Jimmy. Sweet dreams. We'll see you in the morning.
Okay, so they said goodnight. In the morning? Why would she say that if they weren't going to be here?
Jimmy's analysis determines that the notes are fake, which is just a little overkill. The signs of fraud were very obvious, but science should be thorough.
The Earth's been visited by aliens!
The other kids angrily descend on Jimmy after Sheen spills the beans.
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing? Hey, I didn't say nothing about our parents being abducted by aliens.
Where's my mom and dad?
But they do still need his help, so they cut him some slack.
You get us to those kidnapping alien scuzzballs, and I'll take it from there. We're getting our parents back.
The kids quickly assemble their fleet of ships using the attractions at Retroland. This scene felt very iconic when I was a kid, and you know what? There's still something to it now. Something about kids in America being used to empower child characters made Kid Me feel like a real badass. In addition, the movie has repeatedly shown that Jimmy's inventions can be kinda buggy.
No!
Which heightens the sense of victory when it all comes together.
Come on.
Lastly, they're turning theme park rides into spaceships. 20 years later, that is still a really cool idea. But not cool enough that I'm going to ignore basic questions like how can they breathe in space? Even with all the non-factual science in this movie, the vacuum of space seems like one of those facts that's just too important to ignore. Luckily, I found a clip from the TV show that might have the answer.
How come whenever we're in outer space, we don't gotta wear helmets?
Good question, Sheen. And the answer is quite interesting. You see...
You cheeky pricks. There's only a brief moment to appreciate the scenery of space.
It's incredible.
before the kids are hit by a meteor shower. So they set up camp on the back of a comet and are left alone with their thoughts.
We should have never wished on that star, Jimmy, because I miss my folks.
This moment is a good reminder that, in addition to bringing to life all sorts of characters with unique voices, voice actors also deserve a lot more credit for their ability to act.
My mom used to tuck me in bed every night before she was abducted by aliens.
Before my dad was abducted by aliens, he would always read me to sleep.
Jimmy locates the right planet, and the kids find their parents pretty quickly.
You're wearing a mind control device. Take yours off. Hurry. Dad?
Intruder alert! Intruder alert!
Dad,
Big
no,
fire!
no, no.
Intruder alert!
Easy come, easy go. Luckily, Jimmy assigned Nick and another group of kids as a combat squad, meaning this should be—
Get your grubs off me, egghead. Oh.
We're an advanced alien race. What did you expect?
Ooh, reality hurts. Especially when you're a kid. And it's about to hurt Jimmy big time.
If you're watching this, chances are your friends and or relatives are about to be sacrificed to the mighty Poltra.
And it's all thanks to Jimmy Neutron.
You know, without the coordinates you gave us, we never would have found your puny little planet.
By the way, here's another line that I misheard when I was a kid.
Throw these minuscule vermin into the dungeon until they're of worthier size.
And now here's what I thought he said.
Vermin into the dungeon until they're of worthier size.
What is that? That's not even a word. My childhood brain garbled that so badly, it just made up a new word to fill the gap. This is why society left VHS tapes behind. Goddard is taken away for dissection while the kids get thrown in the dungeon. While some of them have an perfectly productive discussion,
We need to ask ourselves, what would Ultralord do?
Maybe sit on a shelf because he's a doll!
He's not a doll. He's an action figure. There's a difference.
Cindy talks to a guilt-ridden Jimmy.
So, you made a mistake. Beating yourself up isn't gonna fix anything.
Yes, thank you. Liar reveal plots could learn something from this. It also does a great job at showing that there's more potential for chemistry between these characters than we're initially led to believe.
I was the smartest kid in school until you came along, but I know one thing that you don't seem to get. And that's that we're never getting out of here without you.
Why are you being so nice to me?
Because there's a bunch of kids in here that need you. And I do too.
Jimmy uses Libby's cell phone to contact Goddard, who tricks Ooblar into running off.
Danger! Danger! You have initiated self-destruct sequence Alpha. 10, 9,
No! Bad dog!
7.
Before handling the guard.
Goddard, play dead!
And as promised, Nick leads the charge into the arena. If these were less forgivable circumstances, his bad boy reputation would have been destroyed that day.
Citizens of Yokus, I, King Gumot V, give you sacrifice!
That guy's a chicken, I tell you, a giant chicken.
Wait. The planet is called Yogus. The citizens are gooey blobs inside egg-shaped mechanical shells, and their god is a giant alien chicken named Poltra. And they had the adults doing the chicken dance to summon— Oh my... I did not pay attention to this at all as a kid, but they really committed to that theme. Jimmy gives an inspirational speech.
We're tough! We're mean! Darn it, we're carbon-based life forms! Now who's gonna kick buttocks?
The carbonated life forms!
And leads a second attack. Now, up to this point, we've been shown random superficial things about several of the characters. And naturally, it was all foreshadowing for this scene.
Yeah!
I can't see! I can't see!
Yeah, Jimmy!
While Jimmy grabs the joystick controlling the adults, Sheen is put in charge of stealing a getaway ship.
I don't have a driver's license. I have no hand-eye coordination.
Sheen! Ask yourself, what would Ultralord do?
Sheen has ridden that vibe for the entire movie.
I do so relish these times of peril.
It has yet to be helpful. But the movie clearly understands that it's a bad idea, so they just lean far enough into it that it becomes a double negative.
Hoopla! Protect!
Your ship awaits, Captain Jimmy.
The humans board the ship and take off, but the king is in hot pursuit.
You can't win! All of your friends and family would be safe at home if it wasn't for one little problem. You.
Little!
Oh, you just insulted the thing he's sensitive about. Bad move, bro.
I may be small, but I've got a big brain!
You've not seen the last of us!
Actually, I have, and I thought it was pretty good. Still need to play the sequel, though. The kids reunite with their parents, and Jimmy gets his moral of the story moment.
I guess I thought I was smart enough to do everything on my own. That I didn't need you.
Having a genius for a son may not always be easy, but it's always interesting.
Aw, heartwarming stuff. But the movie isn't over just yet. So how are they going to bring it home?
I don't remember buying this brand of soda.
Mom, no!
Well, at least it's coming out of the attic, not the basement.
You! James Isaac Neutron!
You know what? They just rescued their parents from a bunch of aliens that tried to sacrifice them to a chicken god. I will let them have their little bits of immature humor and sitcom-style group laughter. But I'm still gonna be grumpy about it. And they all lived happily ever after. Except the owners of Retroland, who experienced a massive loss to their bottom line after most of their rides mysteriously vanished from the park. So that was Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. I liked this movie a lot as a kid, and now I appreciate it too. Its characters have well-defined personalities which become the cornerstone for good humor and important emotional moments. The film also never forgets, even for Jimmy and his extraordinary IQ, that these characters are children. They think, act like, and have the emotional maturity of children. This line here,
What good is it to be a genius if you can't even go out on a school night?
basically the heart of the entire premise. Also, in an age where celebrities dominate feature film animation, it's nice to look back on one that hired a cast of voice actors that sold these characters without 8-year-old me knowing or caring who played them. The only celebrities in the main cast are Patrick Stewart and Martin Short, and their performances blend in with the movie so well, I only knew they were in it because I looked it up. This choice enabled the rest of the cast to be rehired for the TV show, helping it to feel like an extension of the movie instead of a cheap knockoff. Granted, this animation is notorious for looking cheap, but at least it's not Swan Princess cheap. The movie's plot feels a lot like an old sci-fi B-movie.
Attack of the Big Egg People. I think I've seen this one before.
Which incidentally makes the other silly elements of the film feel right at home. But it also does well in exploring the phenomenon of kids not always understanding how their parents are looking out for them, and feeling like the adults are always out to ruin their fun. As for the boy genius element, it's childhood embellished by shrink rays, rockets, and a robot dog. No wonder it got a whole series, because that was a pretty fun concept. Also one that had been done successfully before. Fun fact, Jimmy Neutron was originally pitched as a TV show, and Nickelodeon liked it enough that they said, let's make a movie too. Then the director, John A. Davis, suggested making the movie first, giving the production teams a bigger budget with which to build all their assets, which they could then repurpose for the show. What a triumphant chapter this was for the man who would eventually go on to direct The Ant Bully. Thankfully, Tyler and I took care of that movie 9 years ago. My focus now is the plot holes of this one. Where did the message that Jimmy received from space originate? It's never explicitly confirmed that the aliens from Yolkus are the ones who sent it. All we know for sure is Jimmy intercepted garbled communication frequencies, launched a message in return, and hoped for the best. How did no one spot the alien ships over Retroville? Benefit of the doubt would say that they had cloaking technology to protect them against radar, sonar, or other human means of detection. But the ships were still plainly visible and low altitude. The best excuse I can think of for potential ignorance is that the aliens got in and out very quickly. How was Retroville still functioning? Without adults to operate or maintain power plants, gas companies, etc., these essential infrastructures would eventually encounter problems and stop working, or worse, experience catastrophic malfunction. That said, the kids were only alone a few days before launching a rescue, and that probably wasn't long enough to run into any of these issues. What's more, power plants tend to serve large areas in multiple cities. Since Retroville was the only city abducted from, I doubt that's enough of a difference to cripple a power grid or anything. How was Jimmy able to contact Goddard with a cell phone?
I don't think my service plan covers anything outside our solar system.
She's right, it is scientifically impossible. In the real world. But Goddard operates on cartoon logic and can do basically anything the story needs him to. And to be fair, earlier in the movie he is shown to be equipped with a phone, so this isn't completely out of nowhere.
And so, Detective Steve begins work on more reviews, the 10-year anniversary of film noir approaching more rapidly than he realizes. Will he meet the challenge to commemorate this anniversary in a truly meaningful way? Let's find out.